Am I the a-hole for reporting my brother for child abandonment? Plus update. So I, 25 female, usually work from home and frequently babysit my brother's, 31 male, and sister-in-law's kids. They have 3 kids, all between the ages of 4 to 7. My brother has a rather demanding job that I won't be revealing here as I don't think he'd want me to, and his wife is a nurse, so frequently they'll need me to babysit for them and usually it's fine. My brother contacted me a few days ago and asked if I could babysit his kids for the upcoming weekend as he and his wife would be 2 states away. Usually I would agree, but I had a trip planned with some friends to go to New York City, clear across the country from us, for a few days. I told him as such, but he got upset and told me that my vacation could wait, because whatever it was he had to go to was work-related and extremely important, and that his wife was away caring for her mother who had a stroke recently. I told him that I wouldn't be canceling my plans as I needed a break from work, and he blew up and started yelling about how I should be tired because I just sit at home all day and don't have any kids. At which point I just hung up on him after telling him no once again. Fast forward to my trip, and I'm hanging at the hotel with my girlfriends, and I check my phone and see a notification from 2 hours ago that there was a movement detected at my front door. I check my camera, and I'm just entirely freaking floored. There on my front porch were his kids, who apparently had been sitting there unsupervised for 2 whole hours. Of course, I flip out and call my brother, and scream at him about this, and ask where the heck he was, and why would he just leave them there when he knew I wouldn't be there. He then freaks out at me because I'm not at home where I was supposed to be. No, I wasn't. I told him I wouldn't be, and tells me that I have left his kids in a dangerous situation because he's 2 cities away from home. Turns out that after I hung up on him, he decided he would call my bluff and drop them off anyway, then he just left without even checking to see if I was even home. Now I'm extremely angry and worried sick about my nieces. So without anyone any of us could call to take care of them, I called the police and informed them of the situation and that there's no one even in the city to take care of them. Then I called my sister-in-law to tell her that I had called the police, and turns out she had no idea I wouldn't be there because my brother lied to her. Of course she's furious at him. And my brother is spamming me with texts that I'm going to get his kids taken away and that his wife won't talk to him. Overall, I'm just very angry and just as confused as to what was going on in his head when he decided to just leave 3 kids all under the age of 8, all alone and leave the freaking city. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. It's unfair to you. Also, couldn't your sister-in-law call to confirm that you would have been home? Your brother risked his children's safety. Nothing here is your fault. I don't really blame my sister-in-law. My brother flat out lied to her, and she had no reason to believe that he would pull a stunt like this, so she believed him. There was no one else to call. My sister-in-law was out of town taking care of her mother. I don't know any of my brother's friends, and all of my friends with the key to my place were with me in New York City. Our parents also don't live in the same state, so they couldn't take them either. It seems odd because this entire situation is bizarre. I can't give you an answer to half of these questions because I don't know what was going on in my idiot brother's head when he pulled the stunt. As for letting them inside, my brother is forgetful and loses his key to my house every damn week. Either that or he left them and drove off so that when I opened my door, which I wasn't going to obviously, I'd have no choice but to babysit them. He knows my front camera alerts me to motions outside my door, so that may be why he doesn't bother ringing the doorbell. As for whether or not anyone else saw them, I don't know. I don't really know any of my neighbors, nor I have spoken to them about this. Not the a-hole. What your brother did was so dangerous, reckless, spiteful, and idiotic. He was playing chicken with you, with his children's welfare. Father of the Year. No way should anyone ever just drop their kids off at a doorstep and leave. I won't even do that for adult friends at their own houses. I always hang around to make sure they get inside. I feel bad for your sister-in-law, that she may also have to deal with any fallout, but your brother absolutely needed a wake-up call from the cops. I would kick my significant other to the curb if he did this, so I could keep my kids. I wouldn't be losing them because he is a horrible parent. Not the a-hole. He asked, you said no, repeatedly. And he called your bluff? These poor kids. I hope brother and sister-in-law have good insurance because the therapy sessions these kids will need to deal with this abandonment will not be cheap. A few hours won't be enough. Think about it. Kids' view. Mommy is at Granny's place because Granny's sick. Mommy's not here for us. Daddy drops us off at Auntie's and drives away. He left us. Auntie doesn't open the door. Does not want us. Again, kids' view. I'm hungry, thirsty, tired, need to go potty. It's cold, hot, dry, wet? I'm frightened. Where's everyone? There is a strange man or woman walking a scary dog. Why is the police here? Where did they take us? Where's mommy, daddy, and auntie? Who is this lady asking us questions? CPS. Who is this lady tucking us in? Foster parent / emergency placement, etc., etc. He fears he will lose the kids, and sister-in-law isn't speaking with him? He deserves it. Heartbreaking. You know what happens when you have an important event and no childcare? You miss the event. You attend remotely or you bring your kids and hope they'll be chill in a corner of the room with tablets, headphones, and snacks. People are ridiculously indulgent toward men who take their kids places. Your brother had choices, and he made a terrible one. Opie, if there was no family in town, I really don't see that you had any other choice. Really? What if you didn't have a high-tech front door camera? Best case scenario, a kind stranger would have called the police. That's the best case scenario. Not the a-hole. And now for the update. I couldn't post an update to the original sub, but I realized people were following this account in hopes of an update about the situation. For the sake of my sister's privacy, I won't be going in depth, but the children were okay for anyone wondering. They're currently with my sister-in-law, who is currently staying elsewhere separately from my brother. A lot of people commented on the last post about how my brother's behavior didn't make any sense, and I couldn't really give you an answer because nothing about the situation was sensible to begin with, nor was this normal behavior for my brother. It was entirely out of left field for him, and prior to this, I would have never assumed he would do something like this. He was oftentimes busy with work and so couldn't spend a lot of time with the girls, but when he could, he spent every second with them. He was very caring and conscientious when it came to them. However, it has recently come to light that my brother has been having some sudden onset mental issues and seemed to be in some sort of manic state when this occurred. I don't know if my sister-in-law will continue her marriage to my brother, but we're looking into getting my brother some help and treatment. As of right now, he's in an institution willingly, and when he gets out, we will be there to look after and support him. Thank you all for your well wishes and have a blessed day. Well, I was not expecting that ending at all. My bets were on drugs, affair, or something highly illegal. Didn't see this one coming. Same here. After the RV story, I totally thought it was an affair. One of my friends had a neighbor who would drop off / abandon her kids whenever she felt like a break. Neighbor would literally lower them over the shared back fence. My friend would look out of her patio window and see 2 extra toddlers playing in the backyard. Surprise! This was annoying but manageable when she was home with her own small children, and 2 extra wasn't a massive burden. It was, however, intolerable when she had her kids at daycare so she could work. It was downright dangerous when she went on holidays and the kids were left in a wet wintry garden for a couple of hours before the other neighbor heard them crying and called the police. The neglectful mother was indignant and angry to be charged and moved out shortly afterwards. No one on the street missed her, but those poor kids. Neighbor would literally lower them over the shared back fence. What the actual hell? That's basically illegal border crossing, but house scale. Kinda had a feeling it was probably a mental health thing as soon as she said that her brother had just left the kids on the doorstep. I know that some people are just awful parents, but something didn't really add up. It's good to see that he's getting treatment though. I have a bipolar friend. He's staying on his medication these days. But if he was unmedicated, this is totally something I could see him doing. Basically, any idea he gets in his mind when he's manic is the most amazing idea ever and will totally work out perfectly, and there's no way you can convince him otherwise. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she either starts working or her adult kids pay rent? I've been married to my wife for 5 years. She has 2 kids from her previous marriage. Jason, 22 male, and Carla, 19 female. When we married, my wife still had 50-50 custody of her kids and she wanted to move into my house. I converted the attic into a bedroom so both of her kids and us could have our own rooms. Their father is present in their life, so I was pretty much designated the guy that married their mom, and I'm fine with that. I sorely underestimated how much having 2 teenagers in the house would increase bills. When I was single, I could do my mortgage and bills fine on my own. Post-marriage, everything but the mortgage has gone up, not including spending money for the kids and their extracurriculars. My wife got child support from her ex and some extra help with her expenses, which helped a bit while she had it. But I still had to dip into my savings a lot. It was really important to my wife to be a stay-at-home mom until they graduated. It was tight, but we made it work. Jason moved out after graduating high school to attend college out of state. And when Carla graduated last year, we agreed she could have 1 year to figure if she'd be moving out or applying to nearby schools. Currently, she's not working or in school. A few days ago, I go into the kitchen and my wife was on the phone with Jason and she told him that he was more than welcome to move back in and that she was excited to see him when he got here. After she hung up, I told her that she should have run that by me first so we could discuss it. I wasn't opposed to it, but told her he should know what he'd expected to contribute if he's moving in. She responded that she had always told her kids that they would always be welcomed home whenever they wanted and not have to worry about expenses. I told my wife that was really nice of her, but she made that arrangement with her ex-husband when they were married. She didn't make that arrangement with me. If Jason moved back in, he'd have to pay rent to pitch in with groceries and utilities he'd be using. And it probably should be the same for Carla, so it's not one sibling paying while the other isn't. She said they're her kids and shouldn't have to pay to live at home. So I told her if she felt that strongly about her kids not pitching in now that they're adults, she could go back to work. She's been sleeping in Jason's old room since we're still debating it. And her parents have chimed in with their 2 cents that I shouldn't be making kids pay to live at home. My whole thing is, they're not kids anymore. When they're 40, they'll still be her kids. But that doesn't mean treating them like minors. Especially if it means someone else footing all the bills. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They absolutely should contribute. The biggest issue here is your wife not having a job though. How is she supporting herself before? She had lived with her parents after their divorce and only worked part-time while they were at school. Her parents are nice, but bend over backward for her since she is the only one of their kids that had kids. Not the a-hole. You are being used, and I think you know that. Your wife is using you as a piggy bank. What exactly does she do all day? She expects to do nothing and have you fund her life? If her parents don't think she or her kids should have to pay anything, they can take her in or send her money for your bills. Until that happens, their opinion is worthless. Stay strong. She does take care of the house during the daytime until I get home and pitch in. She will also babysit for some of her friends to help them save on childcare, but she doesn't get paid to do it, though I think she should be charging them. It was really important to my wife to be a stay-at-home mom until they graduated. Not the a-hole. Your wife clearly does not want to, nor intend to, ever work again. Insisting on being a stay-at-home mom while children are in high school is ridiculous, and they are years beyond graduation at this point. Funny how their father is off the hook for support now, but you are still paying through the nose to support his kids. Yeah, the idea that she wanted to be a stay-at-home mother for high schoolers is ridiculous, especially when the OP needed to dip into his savings to bankroll their lifestyle. She's also setting up a situation where it's going to be increasingly harder for her to earn a decent amount of money. It isn't right, but it's often much harder for people to get hired if they've been out of work for a long period of time. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for questioning why I wasn't invited to a baby shower for a child that I'm carrying? My boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years. We lived separately. He was 30 and lived with his parents. I was 31 and lived with my 6-year-old. We had our baby on September 14th, while the baby shower was sometime in August. His aunt decided to throw a baby shower for him. She said it would be a male's version of a baby shower. Men only, but that was a lie. She invited his mother, her daughter, his cousin, and herself of course, but she said I wasn't allowed to come. If it were men-only baby shower, then why were those women there? Also, that would only make sense if it were a bachelor party. I was carrying the baby, and I wasn't allowed to be there. All my boyfriend said to me was that it was out of his control. I feel like he should have stood up for me and said it didn't sound fair, that it should be a baby shower for the both of us. Every baby shower I had been to always had both parents. Also, I didn't feel like he deserved a party looking like he's the father of the year, because he didn't even show up to many of my baby appointments except for 2 of them. One being when we found out the gender. It was on my birthday, but he had to leave shortly after the appointment because he was spending the day with his mom. On my birthday. Also, they lived together. Another appointment he came to was a 3-hour glucose test, but he spent half that appointment on the phone with his mother. Also, he wasn't there much for me during the pregnancy when I was throwing up or needed help lifting something. I had to do it mostly by myself. Again, we are together. Maybe this would make sense if we weren't together. He tells me that the baby shower wasn't out of spite. that it was supposed to be guys only, with the exception of his mother, aunt, and a cousin. Yet I'm the mother. Not the a-hole and big yikes. I wish you weren't linked to this man for the rest of your life, because he's married to his mom, and you're the other woman. Not the a-hole. Mama's boy alert. You would be the a-hole if you even think that he is your boyfriend. No, he is not. He may be with you at times for whatever reasons, but it is not because he is your boyfriend. His family is his heart, not you. You need to start working with the legal authorities/attorney to get some child support paperwork in order and make sure you get legal custody. I can see his mommy pushing him for custody so she can be mommy to his baby, not you. Your 6-year-old is watching this unfold, learning from you what a true relationship is. So do better. Set better examples for your child. Does he live with you now or still with mommy? You wrote, again, we are together. No. Your words say differently. Your words say you are not. Did your family/friends throw you a baby shower? Did he attend? Did his family attend? Where are all the items from his baby shower? At his mommy's house? You would be the a-hole OP if you don't do what this comment says. You need to legally protect yourself and your baby. He isn't your boyfriend, and is probably only coming over to sleep with you. Update. My daughter chose her stepdad to walk her down the aisle. Original post. I, 46 male, have one daughter, 26 female, whose mom ran off when she was 7 and came back when she was 15, claiming she wanted a relationship. She gave it a chance and apparently got really close to her new stepdad. Apparently, he's a really cool guy and likes similar things to her, like hockey, and also plays guitar, like my daughter. I initially thought that it was great she was bonding with her stepdad and her mom. Now she's getting married to her fiancé, 30 male, who she has been dating for 4 years. I pitched in for the wedding, as did her mom, upwards of $25,000. The day fast approaching, and she told me she has chosen her stepdad to walk her down the aisle, as they have really bonded over the past 11 years. I didn't say anything at the time, but I have already decided that I will not be going, as I won't be disrespected like this. If she wants to be a happy family with her mom who abandoned her for 8 years, go for it, but count me out. It wasn't either of them who went to all her hockey games. It wasn't them who paid for her tutoring for exams. It wasn't them who went through the financial hardship of working 3 jobs until she was 17 to support both of us. And it wasn't them who was here when she got her milestones. It was me. I won't be telling her I'm not coming. I just won't show. Now for the comments before reading the update. Why can't both dads walk her down the aisle? Who says things have to be traditional? I ain't walking with that man. I've literally never spoken to him. And she said she wants him. Never did say she wants both of us. I can only assume it's because stepdad got to be the fun dad. He didn't have any real responsibility. She'll figure it out when she really needs help, and mom and stepdad have that confused look on their faces. At 26, she should be old enough to not just be picking the fun dad. Agree, that's middle school garbage. Honor your father, especially because he's not the one who ran out. Why not tell her how it makes you feel? Why not ask why you're not the one she thinks of when thinking of a father? You can still do what you want, but at least have the talk. You know, this is absolutely what I wanted to verbalize and couldn't find the words for. OP, only when we stop participating in the conversation do we truly lose our loved ones. You shouldn't have to beg, you shouldn't have to bring this up. But I tend to see stupidity where others see malice. Ask your daughter point blank, why do you not see me as a father? And I'd bet money she get the surprised Pikachu face, because this literally never occurred to her. The question can open a lot of dialogue about your relationship, the work you put in, and what it took for her to be where she is. Also, given how blasé it sounds like she told you, it might be something her mother suggested, and she's just going along with it, not realizing the magnitude of the insult. You can absolutely from there say, I'm sorry that I wasn't a father figure you wanted. I did my best, but if this is what you want, then it is your day. I hope you have a good life. When you don't show up for the wedding or even respond to her calls and texts, she will know how badly she messed up. But if you don't talk to her, you will be cutting off your nose to spite your face. I have seen something similar to this play out twice, and at this point, I think the pain is just too much to bring up. First, a son, raised by a single mother for his entire 18 years, has struggled. She was mildly crazy, but damn if she didn't do her best. Dad comes back in, is the fun dad, and son changes his last name next year from mom's to dad's. Second, a daughter raised by her grandmother also for all 18 years, but mom comes back into the picture after 18 years of on-and-off heroin use, and suddenly grandma's off her rocker, and she prefers to hang out with mom. Neither parent brought it up, and I just don't think either of them could bring themselves to do it. I'd send her this post. It tells her how you feel and how I'm sure a lot of people agree with your sentiment, especially since you helped $25K for the wedding. She isn't 11 choosing a weekend with him over you. She is an adult, and this is a hopefully one-time event. She's saying he is more important to her. It's insanely disrespectful, especially since you're essentially a single parent for so long. You need to let her know this isn't a small deal. I wouldn't send this post. It was written from a place of frustration and deep hurt. Looks like he needed to blow off steam here anonymously. But for the love of God, a civil conversation about emotional issues with your children goes a long way. Now for the update. So I took your guys' advice and I spoke with my daughter and decided that even if she didn't change her mind, I wouldn't miss her wedding or cut her off. I spoke to her and let her know that what she's choosing to do hurt me, and that if she still wants her stepdad to walk her down the aisle, that is her choice. I won't be there, but will still be supporting her. She said she still wants me there, but that her mom has apparently said she wants stepdad to walk her down the aisle as a way of accepting him into the family. She said that if she refuses, she won't be coming, and neither will stepdad, and they will never speak to her again. I ask if she is really someone she wants in her life, setting demands to maintain her relationship. And you'll never guess who I got a furious call from. Her mother. She was saying I manipulated my daughter into saying she never wanted to see them again, and uninvited them. I will be in 3 months' time walking my daughter down the aisle. Happy for you, but don't trust that your ex won't try to interfere and manipulate your daughter. Also, your daughter needs to be on the lookout for the manipulations to continue and not fall for it again. I'm going to back this up, because by what her mom has done, she shouldn't be trying to tell her daughter what she should be doing for her wedding. We don't really know if she will try again or not, but it's always good to be safe. Thirding this, the mom here sounds very manipulative and selfish, and people like that tend to keep going or escalate, both in my direct experience and based on what I've learned in therapy. I'm glad OP and his daughter are able to communicate well and seem to have a really solid bond. Stay on your toes. A lot can happen in 3 months, but if stepdad was any kind of man, he would have refused the offer in the first place. I'd agree, but we don't know what the mom may have told stepdad about the ex. If she's willing to go no contact with her daughter over this, there's no saying what she tells everyone about the ex. So maybe stepdad thought he was doing the right thing. Who knows? I just hope OP and everyone else there remembers this is the daughter and her spouse's day, and to make decisions in her best interest as much as possible. She's probably stressed to the gills over the mom already. I know I would be. Anyone who wants to live with that kind of woman is either evil himself or very submissive. I bet on second. Am I the a-hole for running away from home? Original post. I, 15 female, will be a junior in high school once the new school year starts. I have a little brother I'll call Matt, 3 male. My parents both work full-time jobs in the business district. I was a planned baby, but Matt wasn't. My parents considered putting him up for adoption, but couldn't do it. They don't know I know this. Once my mom ended her maternity leave 2 weeks early, there was a schedule who would watch Matt when. Mom leaves for work at 4:30 a.m., waking me up on the way. I watch Matt until I need to go to school at 7, and by that time my dad is up and takes over. I get home from school at 3:45 p.m., and my dad leaves for his work at no later than 4 p.m. I watch him till my mom gets home at 6 p.m. For the first year, that's how it went, and I was fine with that. Now, my mom has shifted her hours to work later, so I watch Matt till he sleeps, and I can't sleep till my mom gets home, which is usually 10 to 11 at night. On top of that, I do anything that needs doing at home. I'm in AP classes, and have my homework to do as well. Matt's not very well behaved, as he's had health issues since birth that caused him discomfort. He's a toddler, and I get that, but his tantrums and general demeanor make it hard for me to get things done. The 2 things that tore me down most happened a week before school ended back in May. I managed to talk to my mom and ask her if we could please hire a sitter to look after Matt. I want to take on some extracurriculars. Her response was they didn't need to waste money on that because they had me. 2 days later, my mom got home at 5 p.m., which early for her, and after eating dinner, told me to ask the school if I could shorten my class load next year in order to spend more time at home, since my dad also apparently wants to shift his hours. I told her no, and she got mad saying I needed to be more understanding and accepting. I had enough and blew up. I can't remember what all was said, but I do remember yelling that I wasn't my little brother's parent. Stormed to my room, stuffed some things in my backpack, and left while my mom was distracted by my brother. I'm safe. I called my grandmother and explained what was going on. She and my mother are estranged, but we managed to stay close. Once she picked me up and got the details, she said she understood. My parents blew up my phone, demanding I come home and telling me I should be ashamed of acting this way. My grandmother blocked their numbers. She did talk to them, and they agreed I can stay where I'm at until I get my head on straight. I feel guilty for leaving my brother, but at the same time, I feel so worn out. Other family weighed in, and while most are on my side, others say I need to accept my duties to the family and suck it up. I'm conflicted and don't know what to do. Am I the a-hole for running away? Not the a-hole. You're with a relative. I wouldn't count that as an actual runaway. They all know where you are, and you're safe. I completely agree with you. You are not your brother's keeper. They are wanting you to risk your education for a child that isn't yours. Can you stay with your grandma during school? I talked to my grandmother about that, and she would be willing to take me in, but I'm not sure how my mom and dad would respond. Does your grandmother live within the same school district as your parents? Or would you have to switch schools in order to live with her? As long as she lives in the same district and you don't have to switch schools, there shouldn't be an issue with updating the school about your living situation, meaning emergency contacts. Your school guidance counselor may even be able to help with any paperwork that's needed by the main office of your school. Not the a-hole. You're still a kid. You shouldn't be dealing with so much responsibility. You didn't sign up to be their unpaid babysitter. You're literally losing your childhood because your parents think you have to be responsible for your brother when they should be the ones taking care of him, or hiring a nanny or a babysitter if they can't always be there for your brother. Not the a-hole. It is absolutely inappropriate for your parents to do this. I hate it when people pull a Duggar and make their older children raise the younger ones. I think it was very smart of you to go to your grandma, and you might want to live there through school. The nerve of your parents asking if you could shorten your course load and saying you need to be more understanding and accepting. Unbelievable. Now for the first update. Thank you to everyone who left comments. I feel more confident in my decision now. A couple of people said I needed to talk to my parents about a sitter or boundaries. I've tried before the last time, and they either brushed me off or said things like, "That costs so much money," and "But you do such a good job," and "You're the big sister. It's your duty to watch him." I looked up parentification since I'd never heard it before, and all the boxes were ticked. I had no idea. My grandmother is talking to an attorney and wants to set up an arrangement that will let me stay with her my last 2 years of high school. After I graduate, I plan to go to college in another state. Thank you again for your kind words. If something major happens, I'll let you all know. Best wishes to you and your brother. He's the most innocent of all in this mess. And I'm glad your grandma is there to look after you. If your parents try to cause problems, call CPS on them. Parentification is abuse and it's their child, not yours. I am sorry for your brother, but best of luck to you. You're doing the best to protect yourself. Second update. It's been a few weeks, but quite a bit has happened. I'll try my best to keep this concise. Once again, thank you for all your comments and support. That meant a lot to myself and my grandmother, who says hello. Firstly, my father managed to find my post despite my efforts. I told my mother about it, and they proceeded to blast me to the members of my extended family via social media, saying I made them look bad. She deleted the post a few hours later, according to my cousins who support me. A few days later, during a meeting between my parents and myself, my grandmother and our lawyer, my father apologized to me, and I felt it was sincere. As for my mother, she was silently fuming. Matt was at their house with one of my aunts. They agreed, with great reluctance on my mother's end, to give my grandmother full custody of me of my remaining 3 years as a minor. The next day, my grandmother and some of my supportive family members helped me get what I had for belongings out of my parents' house. I didn't feel true relief until that moment. Now, I'm trying to enjoy my summer. I'm hanging out with friends, going swimming. I'm relaxing. I'm finally reading books I bought 3 years ago that I never got a chance to read. I'm planning extracurriculars for next semester and even planning a birthday party, my first in 3 years, for my sweet 16 in February. I'm also helping my grandmother around the house. I do chores, but this time I'm getting an allowance. Even my sleep has improved. It's a whole new way of living, and it's kind of overwhelming, but I've never been happier. Hopefully this is the last time I post. I'm going to log off Reddit and go out with my grandmother for some shopping. Thank you all. Enjoy being free, my friend. We need more grannies like yours. Good luck in life. Hopping onto the top comment to say that I love this so much. This is the childhood/adolescence you deserve. I'm so grateful for your grandmother for being in this world and doing right by you. Glad things worked out for you. One question, did you get your documents such as birth certificate and social security card? You will need those, and I don't really trust your mother. Grandma can order replacements for OP, assuming they get all the paperwork for legal custody, rather than just some kind of informal arrangement. OP mentions a lawyer. Guarantee it's all legal since there's one involved. If he's worth his chickens, he'll also make sure all the needed documents, birth certificate, social security card, etc. are all handed over too. It's nice if they hand them over, but getting new ones for a minor you have custody shouldn't be hard at all unless they were born off the grid in a cult or something. Guardians have to be able to do things like enroll kids in school, get medical treatment, help them get licensed to drive, etc. I'd be more concerned about the parents misusing them. Yes, replacements can be acquired, but most identity theft happens from family members. If things are so tight that parents are overusing the OP, I'd personally be concerned about identity theft for financial issues and probably some spite. Most family members get away with identity theft because people are reluctant to turn them in for it. There's not all that much stopping your parents from ordering a dozen certified copies of your birth certificate and handing them out in Times Square if they were so inclined. Most localities don't restrict parents from getting them regardless of the state of the relationship. All most people can realistically do is monitor their credit and dispute it if anything happens. There's a way to get your social security number changed if you end up being a repeat victim, but I've heard it's a really high bar. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter that she should leave her pet rat at her mother's home now my girlfriend has moved in? Original post. My male 45 girlfriend, female 45 of 2 years, and I have moved in together. Everything is great, and she gets along very well with my children. At least with my son. I share custody of my 2 children, male 16 and female 15, with my ex-wife, female 40. There is one problem. My girlfriend has phobia for mice, rats, squirrels. In other words, rodents. This is something we all know, and people laugh about it. But it is a serious issue for my girlfriend, who can't even see a picture without starting hyperventilating. My daughter got a rat as a present when she turned 15. She brought it home, and my girlfriend freaked out, and she apparently left the apartment without even noticing that she didn't have her shoes or coat on. I got upset with my daughter, because she knows my girlfriend's fear. I told her that she should leave her pet at her mother's house from now on when she comes here. My daughter got upset and started yelling that my girlfriend is being ridiculous. And me too. Her rat wasn't the problem, so it shouldn't have to be kept at her mom's, and that my girlfriend should move out since she's the one who has the problem with the rat, not the rat with her. I told her that we are family, and family makes compromises. Now she is saying if her rat isn't welcome, then neither is she, and she is planning to stay with her mom until her rat is allowed or my girlfriend moved out. My ex-wife called me to tell me that I'm an a-hole for choosing my girlfriend. I told her she was the a-hole for getting my daughter this present. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Info. Was the gift giver aware of the phobia? Yes, my ex-wife knows that, of course. And I even said that it couldn't come to my place. That was at a birthday party. She knew this before the purchase? It sounds like you told ex at a party about the phobia. X knowing beforehand and telling X after purchases are two different things. They knew before, way before. Not the a-hole, but in the eyes of your daughter, logical or not, you've chosen your girlfriend over her, not a rat. If I were in your shoes, I would suggest that your girlfriend seek therapy for her phobia and present this to your daughter. She can't bring the rat, but you and your girlfriend understand how important the animal is to her and are taking steps that foster a comfortable space for everyone. Doesn't matter if she ever gets over her fear enough to let a rat in her house. I think just knowing that you take your daughter's feelings seriously and there is effort being put in will go a long way. I think a great compromise would be to offer to buy her another rat to keep at X's house with a first. OP's daughter is only 15, so obviously this won't always come from a place of logic for her. That's our job as the adults. Rats are social animals and should be kept in pairs or groups regardless, and this could help OP's daughter accept that a rat still has a friend, still has interaction and care, even if she's not that friend in the moment, because she's with OP. Do right by the rat and get it a buddy, because they are extremely social animals and will get really depressed and sad if they are alone. I have 2 pet rats that spent all their time together, and they were so cute and lovable. If they have a companion, then they can be left alone without human interaction and be just fine. Social animals when isolated in captivity can start to self-mutilate and even go so far as to die of depression by hurting themselves/not eating. Get him a buddy, and he should be fine left with his buddy for a few days at a time. And of course, as others have said, to really drive home, hey, this is purely about the rat and not you. I love you to your daughter, and see about talking the girlfriend into therapy for her phobia. I'm afraid of birds, and I've been working on it. Slowly. Now for the edit/update. Yeah, well, like many here anticipated, this whole rat thing was planned on purpose. And I have to say it makes sense, since I never once had the impression that my daughter even liked rats. I was surprised at a birthday party. My girlfriend and I moved in together about 3 weeks ago, and the rat showed up about 10 days ago. I know this now, because I've tried to text my daughter about other suggestions like a second rat, a dog, etc. She has made up her mind. It is her or my girlfriend in the apartment. My son told me all of this. He said that my ex-wife and my daughter have been bashing my girlfriend and calling her a homewrecker. Anyway, my daughter can live with her mother for the time being because, legally speaking, children here can decide which parent they want to live with at her age. The plot twist is that my son expressed desire to move in permanently with me instead, and I guess that it is because of all the drama. My son hates conflicts and confrontations. Of course, ex-wife is now bombarding my phone because she believes that I have put my son up to this because my son said that he will start packing a bigger bag today if I agreed to him moving in permanently. I talked about visiting her instead of living there, and I agreed. This is escalating very fast, and I don't seem to have found the brakes to stop the madness. My suggestions made things worse. Thank you for listening. If any 40-plus divorced parents have any advice on how to resolve this issue, I'm all ears. If it is relevant in any way, I didn't leave my ex. She did. One day, she sat me down without forewarning and told me she wasn't happy anymore and wanted a divorce. Everything went fast afterwards, and we were divorced 6 months later. It was never an affair or anything, but I think she liked someone, but it didn't work. After a few months, she said she regretted it and wanted to reconcile, but I didn't feel right about it. One thing was her finality in her decision, but most importantly, I wasn't in love with her anymore. She suggested us dating again. We were supposed to keep that a secret in case the spark didn't reignite, and we would have built up hope in our kids for nothing, but she probably told them anyway. I started dating my now girlfriend around the same time, and I fell in love with her and ended things with my ex. The odd thing is that she cordially accepted my decision, but apparently she hasn't, and I'm reaping what we sowed now. God, it felt good to vent out here. Thanks again, and again, any 40-plus divorced parents who would want to talk, hit me up. Absolutely not interested in input from 20-year-olds with no experience of parenting. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up my engagement with my fiancé because of her mind games? A bit of backstory. I, 25 male, have been in a relationship with my now fiancé Sarah, 22 female, for 3 years. I work in the sales department and make good money. I support both of us and also pay for her education, but my job is very stressful. She is the daughter of my mother's childhood friend. They always wanted their kids to get married but never pushed us or said anything. But somehow we liked each other and fell in love. After dating for 2 years, I proposed her 1 year ago. We agreed to get married after her graduation. However, Sarah has a bad habit. She likes to play mind games with me and see my reaction. If she doesn't like the reaction, she gets angry or sad. She asks questions like, hey, what if I'm unable to have intimacy for the rest of my life and unable to have children? Will you still marry me? I try to answer emotionally or make her happy, but she always forces me to answer rationally and expects me to be honest. But if I give her a rational answer, she gets mad or sad, saying I only love her because of her body and I only want her for sex. I understand that marriage is not about sex only. Love, trust, patience, intimacy, everything is needed to make a marriage work. Otherwise, it can't last. She makes these fake scenarios, wants me to answer rationally, but gets angry when I do so. She does this once or twice a week. I try to talk to her saying, babe, please. I hate these questions. I can understand stupid ones like, would you love me if I was a worm? But these questions are serious, and I can't handle these extra dramas. I really love you, but I just want to relax and spend some quality time with you after work. Recently, she crossed the line. One of my coworkers was badly violated by some drug addicts, and she was in the hospital for a week. The boss gave her PTO for 2 months. She and her husband both broke down emotionally. She's scared to even see a man, and her husband can't tolerate the pain she is in. I took him to a bar a few times, every time he cried because of what happened to her and how he failed to protect her. Their marriage is falling apart. Sarah knew everything about these events. So a few days ago, after I came back from work and was relaxing on a sofa, she came to me and out of nowhere brought up my coworker's story and asked me, babe, will you still love me if I get violated and unable to come close to you for years? Will you still love me? My answer was yes, I will be there for you. But she kept pushing. Like, what if they made me pregnant? What if they injured my private parts? I was getting more and more annoyed and angry because that crime is one of the biggest tragedies that can happen to a woman. The horror and terror of it are impossible for a person to imagine. For a partner, it is also horrifying and extremely depressing to see her in such a vulnerable state. But she somehow created this scenario and wants me to give her a rational answer. But I can't, because I never experienced such horror, and I never want to be in that position, and I honestly don't know how I would handle the situation. But she kept testing my patience. After that, I said I was done. I took off my engagement ring and I said I'm done with you. I work 12 hours a day, but I still try to find time to do something for you. I try to buy you flowers, take you out on dates, try to buy everything you ask, cook for you often, and do everything I can to make you happy. All I ask for in return is peace and positive energy. I can't take these games anymore, and I can't apologize every time for some fake scenario you created in your head. I can't handle that extra stress. I walked out of my house. She kept screaming at me and crying loudly. I'm currently staying at my mom's home. She kept calling me and texting me, but I didn't answer. I honestly can't handle her right now. I am tired, stressed, angry, and depressed all at once. Am I the a-hole for breaking up the engagement for this reason? Edit. Thank you guys for all of your kind words. I will keep it in mind moving forward. There will be a family meeting with her family tomorrow. She won't be there, but I want to talk to her family. Her mom and her father already talked to me and apologized, and reassured me they will support my decision if I decided to break up. Both our family have almost 30 years of friendship, and our moms are friends since their teenage years, and they won't let that break because of her. I will update you guys about the meeting. Edit 2. Sorry, I should have added more context and backstory. I wrote this while I was sad and depressed, so I missed a few things. We started our relationship when she was 18 and I was 21, but we knew each other since birth. We were good friends. We played together. I had a crush on her when she was 16, but since she was 3 years younger than me at that time, I didn't tell her. But at her 18th birthday, I confessed, and she said yes. We moved in together after her 20th birthday, and this drama started after that. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Getting blasted with endless what-if questions and scenarios is beyond exhausting. It creates an erosion of the trust that was, past tense, in a relationship. This is neurotic behavior on her part. You're not the a-hole for letting her know she's violated a boundary. It's up to you if you want to give her the opportunity to get into therapy and rebuild your relationship. If not, I don't blame you. I already suggested therapy, even couples therapy, but she rejected both. But I knew her since we were kids. As far as I know, she doesn't have any traumatic past either. Please, do not go looking for an excuse for her behavior. She doesn't need one. She has been this way for a long time, but nobody has called her out for it until now. In her mind, this is a normal behavior, and she doesn't need counseling. She's in shock that you reacted as you did. In your defense, these hypothetical what-if questions are impossible to answer as you truly don't know what you do or how you'd respond, unless the situation was actually happening to you. Wishing you all the best. Yes, you are right about that. But I should have added that I asked her mom about this too. She said they never saw Sarah asking these types of questions to anyone at home. My sister said she never does this to any one of her friends. Seems like I'm her only victim. And thank you for your well wishes. Sounds like she's on some TikTok BS. She doesn't have TikTok. Never seen her use it. She still uses an iPhone 6. She passes her time watching movies or series or playing Stardew Valley on her Switch. Not a-hole. She was fishing for arguments and fights constantly just to get some sort of thrill. And to put you down and punish you for something super hypothetical. Sometimes asking such questions is fine if it's a valid concern, but it seems your fiancé took genuine pleasure out of using your coworker's misery to come up with a messed up what-if scenario to get a rise out of you for her own entertainment. She behaves like a high school teenager that lives off drama and stuff. You clearly told her to stop this nonsense, but she walks all over you, and she has no respect for others than herself. She thinks a tragedy this bad is something to make a game out of. Please run, as far as you can. I tried as much as possible, but these mind games are making me crazy every day. I'm totally done with her BS. You tried to accommodate her by giving her the answer she wanted. Not good enough. You have her the answer she wanted to hear. Not good enough. You ask her to stop. She won't respect that. Please give me an honest answer. Do you think you can take this for 10 years? Can you accept that she will probably do this with any future kids too? She won't stop with her awful behavior towards you. When will she also do it with your family, your kids? Yeah, these things are running on my mind right now. Now for the update. First of all, I want to thank everyone for your amazing love and support. I didn't expect this to get this many responses and attention. I was in a bad situation and wanted some support, but it got more than I could ever expect. So, we finally had that family meeting. Sarah's mom, dad, her aunts, uncles, and grandma all came to my house. Sarah came too, but they told her to stay in the car. We had a long discussion. I explained everything that's been happening about the what-if questions and how she got upset with my answers. They were very supportive. They always treated me like their own son, and today was no different. After I expressed my anger and depression, they said if Sarah could come in because she wanted to say something. They said she was completely broken down and never expected I would actually walk out like this. She didn't eat, showered, or did anything in the last 48 hours. She came in, and it was true. Her eyes were bright red, messy hair, and she was in the same dress I left her in. She cried and wanted to come towards me, but her mom stopped her, and she made her explain why she would do such things and never gone to any therapy or even considered that. I won't bore you with every detail because she was crying and sobbing while speaking. But to summarize, a lot of you were right. She was way too young to get married, and she never really grew out of her childhood friendship. She used to do pranks, throw cold water at me, or say stupid things to embarrass me when we were kids. The reason for those what-if questions was to irritate me, but she never realized her questions turned from stupid stuff to horrifying questions. She never expected me to be this much traumatized by it, because to me, this was a real relationship turning into marriage. But in her mind, she was dating her childhood friend and started to live with him. Both of our parents apologized to me because they were so happy about our relationship that they forgot she might not be ready to be married at all. She is young, and this is her first relationship as well, just like me. After hearing all of this, my anger calmed down a bit, but the damage was already done. And by looking at Sarah, I can say she realized it too. I've never seen her this much broken down ever in my life, but I wasn't ready to go back, and her parents didn't beg or force me either. But she said she was ready to do anything I ask. She will do anything to get me back. This was a wake-up call for her, and she realized what she had done. So I said the marriage is off the table now. First, she needs to go to therapy. And after she's done, we will see if we can give this relationship another chance. She agreed to everything and said she will work hard to make this relationship work because she does not want to lose me. Now, a lot of you may get angry at this decision of mine, but I've given this a deep thought. Because she was always loyal to me. She loved me, cared for me, and did everything a wife does. But the problem was her mind games. But if what she says is true, and I believed it was true since the explanation makes sense, then I want to give this relation another chance too. I want this to work, but this time I will take it very slow. Both of us need to improve. We were going at 100 miles per hour. Now I will just take one step at a time and see if I can make this work. If not, I can always back out. Wish me luck, everyone, and thank you again for your support and love.